All right, well, speaking of Thanksgiving, we couldn't help but notice Kamala's tweet about it. Here she is with second gentleman Doug in what appears to be their kitchen with her homemade cornbread. But what's that behind them? Is that a gas stove? Kamala, how could you? Don't you remember when the Biden administration suggested banning gas stoves? Joining me now for this is Charlie Hurt, Fox News contributor and Washington Times opinion editor. You know, Charlie, I was reliably informed that gas stoves are evil and should be banned from existence. So, I'm a little bit confused. Can you explain this for me, my friend?
Yeah, they're suddenly going to kill all of us after we've been using them for, all of the last 150 years. They're suddenly going to kill us all. No, it's really amazing, and it's really interesting. It's not just, of course, the Biden administration that has suggested that they want to do away with gas stoves. It's actually, if you go to Democrat-run places like Washington, D.C. and New York City, and you look at the latest building codes and the approvals for building apartment buildings, they've removed the gas lines from them because they want to take away your gas stoves. And so it's so funny that people, they saw that. Her tweet, they saw her stove, they rightly heckled and mocked her and made fun of her and ridiculed her. And then all of the Democrats got freaked out and went on and jumped online and said, oh, no, wait a minute. They don't want to take away the gas stoves. That's misinformation. No, they do want to take away the gas stoves. And in fact, they are taking away the gas stoves.
Why do you think they want to do it?
In any of the places where they control things.
Is that why? Why do they want to ban gas stoves?
I think because they hate us. They hate humans. They hate joyfulness. They hate pies. They hate good food. They want us all to be miserable. They want us to suffer, because when we're not if we're not suffering, we are we're making things, we're creating things, we're joyful, we're doing wonderful things. Everybody's happy, and that drives them crazy because they're all miserable. They want all of America to be as miserable and unhappy and unloved as they are, and we're just not going to go along with it.
Although I feel like we've suffered enough under Joe Biden. But all right, so Charlie, I want to get your take on this.
I legitimately cannot tell if these Fox hosts truly believe the bullshit they're spewing, or if they just hate their audience that much that they are hell-bent on feeding them straight disinformation without an ounce of shame. But either way, this is what it would look like if Brainworms was a live news segment. Now, first of all, I don't know how we are still stuck on this gas stoves nonsense. Although, for a party that dined off of Benghazi for the better part of a decade, I guess we really shouldn't be surprised that these people have nothing better to do than recycle debunk conspiracy theories for our brain-addled relatives whose TVs are still programmed to Fox. But second of all, and I can't believe I actually have to say this, but no, Joe Biden and the Democrats are not coming for your gas stoves. Here's what actually happened behind the hyperventilating by the conservative pundit class. A Consumer Product Safety Commission official expressed concern that gas stoves emit dangerous levels of toxic chemicals. Research has found that gas stoves in California are leaking cancer-causing benzene. Another study found that they're contributing to global warming by leaking 2.6 million tons of methane into the air. Yet another study suggests they're emitting harmful levels of nitrogen, which is known to cause asthma. And so we study products to figure out how to make them safer moving forward, which is normal. Figure out what is unsafe and work to make it safer. For example, some lawmakers have suggested that stoves be sold with range hoods to improve ventilation, or issue mandatory performance standards to address the harmful emissions. Again, this is extremely normal. It is why we have seatbelts in cars. It's why those same cars don't spew harmful emissions in the atmosphere like they did 10, 20, 30, 40 years ago, blanketing our cities in smog. It's why factories aren't allowed to dump toxic sludge into bodies of water. It is why we have breathable air and potable water. Again, studying harmful effects to make them safer isn't scary. Not studying harmful effects to make them safer is the scary part. But what no one has done is called for a ban on all gas stoves. The White House has come out and expressly said that President Biden would not support a ban. Even the commissioner at the heart of this matter, the Consumer Product Safety Commission, said no ban is in the works. The CRSC's commissioner said, to be clear, CPSC isn't coming for anyone's gas stoves. Regulations apply to new products. And so, of course, despite all the truth that's out there now, Republicans are claiming the polar opposite. Why? Because they think their supporters are abject morons and they want to keep them good and scared that the big bad government is coming to knock down your door and rip your stove right out of the kitchen. That's how dumb Republicans believe their viewers and voters are. If I was a Republican, I wouldn't be pissed off about the absurd notion that Joe Biden is barging into my kitchen with a dolly. I would be pissed off that my Republican representatives are making nearly $200,000 a year to lie to me about straight up fairy tales. And just to put that absurdity on full display, here's Congressman Jared Moskowitz laying it out pretty clearly during a recent interview. I do want to move on to the preeminent issue of our time here. That is the greatest threat facing America today. And I think you're starting to pick
gas
up on
stoves, right?
Gas stoves. So what are you doing, Congressman?
It's a serious war.
What are you doing to protect gas stoves? And do you think it's enough?
Well, I mean, look, I hope General Electric leads the troops into battle to fight this war on gas stoves. I mean, at the end of the day, right, we have efficiency standards. So all of our appliances have efficiency standards. Your refrigerator, your dishwasher, and guess what? Your gas stove has efficiency standards. So all the Biden administration was doing more efficiency standard stuff. Nothing was being banned. But they turned it into a ban. And they do this all the time, right? They try to create some sort of sense that the government's coming after you, the government's going to knock on your door and take away your stuff, right? Intrusion, and they get people, get all upset and agitated. And so, look, I called that out, multiple times to point out the fact that, these folks have had multiple hearings. They did gas stove week, multiple bills on gas stoves, not one thing on gun violence prevention. 6 months we've been here. You know what? Fine. We can't agree on gun violence prevention. How about school safety? Not one thing on school safety, nothing to produce, nothing for parents that they're putting their kids to bed at night and sending them to school in the morning or to the movie theater or to the mall, taking them to the grocery store. No, nothing for those parents. But hey, if you own a gas stove, maybe a nice one, a Viking, right? Good to know that the Republicans are fighting for you, although it's a lie. And so I voted for their bills because I also know at the same time, you vote against it. You know what they're going to do? They're going to send a mailer out to your district because that's the whole point of this. It's all messaging bills. Don't listen to me. Listen to the Freedom Caucus that called out their own Republicans for all these messaging bills. But they'll send out a mailer that will say, Jared Moskowitz is coming to take your gas stove. I'm not going to participate in that nonsense.
So again, for anyone who believes the bullshit that Republicans are feeding them, no, Joe Biden is not going to touch your stove, but Republicans will continue to lie, no matter how ridiculous, no matter how shameless, no matter how debunked, because the point isn't the truth, the point is the lie. For a party that fearmongers so much about how the left wants to control you, it is the right that is physically incapable of not programming its supporters to believe a patently absurd narrative, because per usual, every accusation is a confession. Before you go, I need some help. Please subscribe to this channel and do your part to help grow the progressive media ecosystem. I don't do sponsorships or paid ads, I won't ask for money, but just subscribing to this channel goes a really long way and it helps get the message out to more people. The subscribe button is right here on the screen. You can also subscribe to my Spanish language channel, which I made to reach those crucial Spanish-speaking voters. That link is on the screen too. And finally, if you want to listen to my audio podcast, you can follow that link as well. Thanks so much for watching.